What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Criminal Minds Season 13, Episodes 2 through 5. A lot to get through, so let's hop right in with Episode 2, To a Better Place. This episode picks up a few weeks after everything that happened in the first episode with Mr. Scratch, the attack on the team, Steven's death, them tracking down Scratch after he kidnapped Prentice, all that stuff. So they've taken, I think they said 6 weeks off just to sort of recuperate from that and decompress, kind of the technical jargon used. So this is the team returning to action. Serial killer going around stuffing bodies into bags, women, and like putting lipstick on them and stuff. Overall, not the most interesting out of these 4 episodes. It was just another typical case. The guy is kind of interesting in the fact that he's almost like another Ted Bundy, seemingly a good looking, just seemingly charming guy. But then, finally manages to get a hold of these women and has his way with them. But, the story behind him, seeing his dead grandmother in his mind, the abusive relationship between his grandmother and his mother. His grandmother actually killed his mother. That type of story I've seen on the show before, and ultimately how it all ends. He's talking to this one girl that he works with, and then finally asks her out on a date, trying to show his dead grandmother in his mind, hey, she's not like the other girls who leave, and then ultimately she's like creeped out and tries to leave, and so he's angry with her, is about to kill her, and then they show up just in the nick of time to stop him. But the interesting part about this episode, though, or at least the part that sticks out the most, is we see Reed is coming back. He's being evaluated to see whether or not he's ready to come back to the team. And we see at the beginning of this episode, this guy's talking to him and telling him, look, we've had this situation before where the board cleared a guy to come back and work, and then a few weeks down the line, a hostage situation goes wrong, and like I think they said he killed everybody involved or something like that, and like he lost it. And so at first there's just like, oh, so are you not reinstating him? And it's like, so they said no. I said no. They said yes. But they did put in a stipulation. We come to find out that apparently for every 100 days that he has to work, he has to take 30 days off. So it does make sense a bit because it's kind of like a safety net. It's a way for him to not always have to be involved in the field. We find out later on from Prentice that apparently he's getting to teach his own seminars on these days off. So I'll be curious to see how that's going to tie in with like that episode, because I assume there are going to be some episodes where either he's not involved or he's going to be teaching a seminar, and I assume it's going to be related somehow to the case, or at least I think. But yeah, so I'm curious to see how they're going to handle that. I hope it's not just he's not going to be on some episodes because they're just going to say, oh, he's teaching a seminar this week, so he's not going to be here. But I don't know. I'm kind of interested to see how they're going to handle it. But we see at the end of the episode, he has a situation where he's trying to talk down the guy from killing the girl that he's interested in, and he does a very good job of it, convinces him, or at least gives him the information about his grandmother killing his mom, and sort of turns him against his grandmother in his mind, and so manages to talk the guy down and get him to surrender. So, it's just a nice little moment for Reed, but all in all, not the most interesting episode out of these 4. Third episode, Blue Angel, involves an escort service. These guys have been sleeping with this one particular woman, and now all of these guys are turning up dead after sleeping with her, and so the team finds out about who this woman is that they've all been seeing, manage to track her down, find out she's not involved, she doesn't really know what's going on, but clearly there's a connection here, maybe it's a family member, and then come to find out through a long, long process that apparently her actual birth father is somebody that she has no clue about, that her mother, who turns out to be her aunt, hasn't been telling her about, has been lying about for several years because has a history. And so when he gets out of prison, because I can't remember exactly what he did to get himself locked up in prison now, but whenever he got out, he wanted to check up on his daughter to see how she was doing, and come to find out, oh, she's sleeping around with all these men. Well, I can't have that, and so started going on a killing spree of these guys. And so that's pretty much everything that's been going on. It was an interesting episode in that respect. It's a little bit different. I do like that sort of I guess, out of the box thinking. It's not just a typical, oh, this guy's crazy. No, he's not. He is crazy. I mean, to kill anybody, you have to be a little bit psycho. But he's not like the typical, oh, I'm just killing because, like the guy in the second episode, oh, I see all these girls as like, I don't know, some version of my mom or something like that. It has nothing to do with that. He's just killing because he wants revenge for all these guys touching his daughter. He doesn't want that, and because he is a little bit off in the head, that's why he resorts to killing them. But it's a reason you can kind of understand. It's a reason that you could see somebody doing. You see Liam Neeson killing all these guys because his daughter got kidnapped. Yes, it's not quite kidnapping, but it's still a feeling that we can all relate to. So I did like this episode for that reason, that it was a little bit different than most of the typical Criminal Minds episodes. But there was one thing in this episode that just felt kind of pointless. We see Agent, what's his last name? His first name's Matt. It's the new guy from Criminal Minds Beyond Borders, the new member of the team. He's integrated into the team very well. He's doing a very good job of sort of taking that spot of Walker. He's definitely a lot more emotional than Walker was. He's not as monotone. He does seem like an FBI agent, but he's not so like just very monotone and gonna talk like this the entire time and never inflect his voice at all and all that stuff. He actually does have personality. They're doing a very good job of integrating him into the team. But in this one episode, for some reason, we see him waking up with his wife, and they're having like a little chat and talking about, oh, you don't have to go into work. Oh, yes, I do. Oh, yes, I do. Oh, no, you don't. Oh, yes, I do. And then all of a sudden she's like, you know what, never mind. And then apparently they sleep in. And then later on in the episode, he's bodyguarding this, the escort, the prostitute, and he's talking with his wife on the phone, and then all of a sudden just says, hey, honey, I'm going to have to call you back, and then hangs up. And there's this scene where she's just like, was that your wife? And he's like, yeah. She's like, I know men like you. And I never like to sleep alone or something like that. And he's just like, good night, ma'am. And nothing happens. Like, nothing happens. At the end of the episode, she thanks him for helping her, and she's like, you truly are the man you say you are. And then he goes home to his wife sleeping, wakes her up with cuddling, and then the kids come running in. They apparently have 4 kids. Maybe it was a way to introduce us to his family, but why do it in such a way that it sort of makes it look like maybe he's going to cheat on her? I don't know, it's such a bizarre way to introduce his family. I feel like you could have done it a bit smoother. I don't know, it was just kind of weird. And it felt sort of pointless in the context of the episode, so anyway. But that's it for the 3rd episode. 4th and 5th episodes definitely stand out a little bit more as far as the premise. There are a few things that just really stood out to me. So first we got the 4th episode, Killer App. These young people are sort of like partying. Apparently they're a part of this company. It's kind of like a gaming company, I think. But these 2 guys, they're younger, and they're talking about, hey man, come on, let's have some fun. And he's just like, nah, I gotta get back to work. He's like, nah, come on. And so they like see these hot chicks like massaging guys, and like, all right, yeah, let's go do that. And all of a sudden, people just start getting shot up. And so you see this one guy go down, security guard pulls out a gun, and he goes down, and then one of the guys that we were just looking at, he gets shot. And so now 3 people are dead, and it's like, is this a terrorist attack? What's going on? And then next thing you know, you've got 4 other people. They're all working in a dark office late at night, and then all of a sudden, they've all got noise-canceling headphones on. You hear a glass break in the distance. All of a sudden, shot and dead, shot and dead, shot and dead, shot and dead. All 4 of them dead. And so it's kind of like, what is going on? Because there's no real clue as to what this could possibly mean. There is a little bit of you can kind of figure out that it's not one person doing it. You can kind of tell that something else is probably shooting, because you see the security guard, and they even say later he had military training. You see him like looking like, what is this? So you can kind of figure out early on that it's not a person shooting. It's likely either a drone or some sort of like, I didn't instantly go to drone. I was thinking more like they set up some sort of gun and we're firing using a computer or something like that. But drone works too. But you come to find out that it's a person operating a drone killing all these people. And then find out about this place called Peakstone that apparently contracts people to come work for them to sort of work in the army without actually having to go to war. They set up these teams that you got 6 coders that are helping control the drone, and you have one drone operator that's going around firing with the drone code or whatever. And so we come to find out that apparently the guy that's been controlling the drone and killing these people was a drone operator. The 6 people, not including the security guard that he killed, were all part of the coding team. And then he comes and shoots out the tires and shoots out the window of this woman who apparently contracted all of them to come work for this company called Peakstone. And so it's kind of hinting that Peakstone is not a good company. Clearly there's something going on there. Prentice goes and talks to kind of the head guy, and she's just like, what you're doing isn't right. You're hiring civilians to go kill people overseas and not really giving them the support they need to get out of this mentally okay. And she's like, psh, you can't prove that. Just acting all like cocky, like she doesn't have any proof of this. And we come to find out that apparently they send out like a report of the statistics of the body count. And I mean, that alone is just kind of like, that's sick. So finally, after this is all sort of said and done, we see the guy that kidnaps the unsubbed that kidnapped the woman. He's found dead. The woman grabbed the gun that he put on the counter and shot him, and then ran away, and eventually got picked up and brought to the hospital. So when they come and find the body, they see he not only has the one gunshot, he was shredded by one of the drones, and so they realize somebody hacked into it. It's got to be Peakstone that killed him, but why? What's going on? Come to find out, apparently there was a mission that went horribly wrong. And instead of going and killing all of these, terrorists, these people overseas in Afghanistan that are actually insurgents, apparently something went wrong and they shot up or bombed an elementary school. And there were 372 casualties. That alone is just it's kind of a gut punch. When you first hear elementary school, you already heard the body count was 372. That alone is just staggering numbers. Then to hear it's an elementary school is just a straight up gut punch. And the reactions of the team are just perfect. You see Garcia, she's got tears rolling down her cheeks. JJ, as soon as she hears that, is like, oh my God. Just everybody's horrified by it. And it's exactly the reaction it deserves. So eventually we see Peakstone tries to kill the woman that hired the team, and they manage to stop the guy that was hired to kill her. They get most of the information from her by arresting her, and she cuts a deal. So they managed to go get the guy, the head of Peakstone, which was a immensely satisfying scene. Seeing Prentice walk up and just handcuff him as Rossi's standing there, just with a smug look on his face. I'm like, yeah, put that bastard in the lowest of the low of prisons, man. So yeah, all in all, that was definitely one of the standout episodes just based on that. That moment where they reveal what happened on the mission was just kind of holy crap, this just took a turn. What seemed just like somebody who was doing this for terrorist reasons, all of a sudden you sort of sympathize with them because anybody would lose their mind in that situation. I don't even think I could handle finding out that I was used to blow up a school of elementary kids. That would be awful. So definitely a good episode, a very emotional episode. And then we come to the 5th and final episode that I'm going to talk about, Lucky Strikes. Another emotional episode for different reasons. This one wasn't as gut punching, but we have the return of Floyd Farrell something. I can't remember his name. A name that I didn't know off the top of my head, but when they described the case, feeding these women's fingers to other women, yeah, it definitely sparked a memory. I'm like, oh yeah, that guy. I definitely remember that guy. That was one that stuck out to me a little bit. But not only that, but we also find out that apparently this was the case that was being worked on whenever Garcia got shot by the guy that she was dating. So yeah, it was kind of interesting whenever they brought that up. I'm like, really? Wow. I didn't even remember that this is the case where it happened. But yeah, they tie it together very well. Very surprised. And back then, I don't know. I don't really remember when I saw that episode. I have the first 8 seasons and I binge watched all of them on DVD. So I don't remember when I saw this, but when I did see this episode, I definitely did not know that Jamie Kennedy was Floyd. And so whenever I saw guest starring Jamie Kennedy, I'm like, he's the bad guy? He was the bad guy? And sure enough, when he comes out, I'm like, I don't recognize him, but I recognize the hair. The hair's definitely the same. And ladies and gentlemen, this is why anybody who worked on Son of the Mash needs to be, checked out mentally. They need to make sure everybody's okay. Because this is what happens when you worked on that movie. Kind of lose your mind and go crazy and chop off women's fingers and legs and worship Satan. Yeah. A little bit of a joke, but honestly, definitely a great performance by Jamie Kennedy. And honestly, Son of the Mask is really the only thing I know him from. I don't really know him from anything else, but seeing his performance here, totally different and very, very creepy. But it was also, not only that, it was an interesting case. Just the thought of, first of all, did the team make a mistake? Did they miss maybe a partner whenever they arrested him the first time? They show a lot of the scenes from that episode, show him talking about his friend that was helping him and stuff like that, and they just assumed he was talking about Satan. But they're like, maybe he was talking about a partner. And so, come to find out after doing all the investigating and stuff, come to find out that apparently he had taken on sort of a patsy that was killing women now as he's getting out of prison to sort of almost shift blame off of him for the original crimes, take blame for those as well. And sure enough, that's what happens. They managed to find a woman who was yelling at Floyd earlier, saying, "How dare you, you're the devil, you killed my daughter." The patsy, I can't remember his name now, but he knocks her out and takes her and is about to kill her just like Floyd taught him to. But the FBI show up, he holds a knife to her throat and then says, "I killed all those women 10 years ago, and now I'm doing it again, and I did it all, I framed Floyd for it," and then kills himself. And so now, they're stuck with his confession, which of course, the defense attorney, who is a total scumbag, and I wish I could... they didn't really show her face whenever they came up with the information about, Floyd having the woman's fingers in his stomach. They didn't show her face during that, but I wish I could have seen it because she's just one of those people that is so... Whenever she talks, she was so arrogant that the only reason that you should have brought her on the show is because at the end of it, you get to see her like, "What? I was beaten?" That's the only reason to have somebody so arrogant, but they didn't show that, unfortunately, so I didn't get that awesome feeling inside, like, in your face. But ultimately, that's how this episode ends. They do manage to catch up to the guy, but then he kills himself, and so now the final part of the episode is we have to make sure he doesn't get out. We have to make sure he doesn't get into the community again because he's just going to kill more. This is clearly all been set up by him. And so it's nice that Garcia gets to be the one to figure out how to keep him in there, figuring out about the extra 5 fingers that are missing. I don't know, it was kind of a nice little moment for her just because she was ultimately the one that, is having the most trouble with this case. But we also do have a little bit of return for Shamar Moore. He comes back, he kind of gives, Garcia the boost that she needs in this case because she's struggling with it so much. The only problem I have with this, honestly, is just the fact that I want to see him with the team more. I was hoping at the end there was going to be like a kind of a team reunion between all of them. Still have not seen him and Spence talk at all since he left the team. I was hoping at the end of last season he and Spence would have more time together, but I don't think they talked at all after he came back at the end of last season. So I was hoping he'd get to talk to Spence here. Did not. He was gone before everybody got back. So I don't know. I know he's off the show, but still, there are so many scenes that I want to see some more of. Why can't we get more of those scenes? But anyway, long story short, these next 4 episodes after the first one were pretty good. The first 2, not really that memorable. Kind of some weird moments, but overall still good. They're not quite above average. They're just about average. Average Criminal Minds episodes. The next 2 definitely more memorable. Definitely really good. One is an emotional roller coaster that just like gets you in the end. The other one, another emotional roller coaster that brings back a case that, if you didn't remember it, don't worry. They do a very good job of making sure that they show enough scenes to remind you of what it was. And they just bring back a lot of emotions from a case that honestly is a pretty interesting case overall and a pretty creepy case as well. So, yeah, all 4 episodes were good. I enjoyed all of them, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else this season has in store. So, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on this episodes? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Criminal Minds reviews. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.